Hey guys, welcome to Double Shot of Steelers. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This program is presented to you by our friends at the FanDuel Sportsbook. I'll be joined very soon here by Chris Halleck, and we'll be talking about Steelers versus Bengals, which is coming up Sunday at 1:02 p.m. And we're going to be talking about one thing above all. Doesn't mean it's the only thing, because I know you guys are going to have other questions, such as something Mike Tomlin, like Frank Rice does, because their last game was a loss, and that's how that goes. I want to talk about the only thing that's really going to end up mattering on Sunday. We can pretend otherwise. We can talk about different phases of football. We can talk about different people and personnel and stuff. What this game is going to come down to is the cover zero plan. Cover zero was the headline that I put on top of our site whenever the Steelers got pasted out in Cincinnati. And that's exactly what happened, by the way. I don't care that the score was 33-31. That makes it sound like it was some fun, competitive thing. It wasn't. It was embarrassing. Cover zero is what that defense looked like. The way, heck, it's not even just the way that Jamar Chase was being, productive. It's not how open he was. It's that he was targeted 23 times. I didn't think I'd live to see an NFL receiver get targeted 23 times in a game. Not a wide receiver. If AB didn't do it, I didn't think I'd ever see it. And it was just candy from a baby all night. Whether it was Chase, whether it was T. Higgins, all night. Noah Fant had 4 catches in that game. They had people open all day, all night. I have a hard time believing that there is still any hope of the Steelers defense stopping these guys based only on what was the most recent thing we saw. Now, add to that Deshaun Elliott isn't around. Add to that Darius Slay is in concussion protocol. Now, maybe by some miracle or whatever, Kyle Duggar happens to fare better. Maybe by some really wild miracle, James Pierre outdoes Slay. All of it's possible. Anything's possible. But so is a sequel. So what we're going to talk about today is going to be it's going to be partially personnel, but mostly schematic. Because when you watch that film, and I wouldn't recommend it, of the Bengals doing what they did to the Steelers, the thing that jumps out is that there were no answers. There were no O's for their X's. None. People just ran clean like it was nothing. That's what we're going to get into today with Chris. We're going to dig into this intense football stuff here right after this when we come back.
For those of you who are doing real work in construction, in a warehouse, if you're a mechanic, you want reliable, comfortable gear to help you perform well on the job. Brunt Workwear's got you. They've got waterproof boots, safety toe, soft toe, pull-on, lace-up, whatever you need. You can wear them to work, and if they're not right for you, send them back. I don't know of any other brand doing that. Brunt was tired of the workwear brands out there cutting corners. You work too hard to be stuck in uncomfortable boots that don't hold up. So they built something better. Boots that are insanely comfortable and built for any job site. For a limited time, our listeners get $10 off. Just head to bruntworkwear.com. Use the code DK Sports and you're good to go. After you order, they'll ask you where you heard about Brunt. Do us a favor here at DK Pittsburgh Sports and tell them it was from this show.
My goodness, Chris Halleck. Can you imagine the over-under for this game? Is it 60?
It should be.
I mean, the last one was 64, so...
Yeah, I'm curious now.
Yes, so am I. And while you check into that, I'll remind everybody that the time that anyone can check in on the latest odds, futures, and win totals are on the FanDuel Sportsbook. If you think the Steelers are going to improve defensively against this particular opponent. I don't mean to be a drag today. I'm sorry, but I was there. I watched it. It was so bad. And it's going to require such a violent turnaround for this team to hold that other opponent down that it's a little bit challenging to process in the moment. Lock in your bets today. Whatever your game, the FanDuel Sportsbook delivers the latest lines, futures, and specials so that you can join in on all the action. And the over-under is
49.5.
Oh, my God. You're making that up.
I'm not. I'm not.
I love it.
I
love it.
It's actually kind of crazy.
These are the people who make the money, though.
Yeah.
The ones that set the betting lines are the ones who make the money. That's just how
it
goes. People think that there's like some wizards that do this. Oh, look, Las Vegas set the line. No, they didn't. You did.
Do you know what I kind of like? I'm looking at this right now. Anytime touchdowns. Scotty Miller, who was cleared today.
That's not nothing.
Plus 2,700 odds for Scotty Miller anytime touchdown. I mean, I have a hard time not wanting to put $5 on that.
Well, he's going to see the football.
Yeah.
That's why I said it's not nothing. Now, I don't think you take, Calvin Austin and just discard him.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I tried to go for. We have a sneeze button. I went for it. I just swung and missed.
I do think it's really interesting though that like sometimes we look over Scotty Miller. This is a receiver who has earned praise from Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, like two of the greatest passers in NFL history have like just been like, we love this guy, and it's. I don't think I'm not saying Scotty Miller is going to become like WR2 and he's going to catch 6 passes on Sunday, but him coming back, it helps and it gives the Steelers an option. I'm really curious to see if they just plug him straight in and he ends up getting more snaps than we were seeing earlier in the season before he injured his finger.
Well, I was going to say that's the other thing that has to be a variable in this is that he is coming off of a broken finger, and there's no way he's 100%. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I'd like to think my fingers right now are at 100%, because I haven't had any of them broken like ever. Okay. But this guy coming back from an injury, he's not going to be 100%. We'll see. We'll see how that goes.
He did fully practice all week, which is always a good sign.
Yeah. And I'm sure he took a lot of footballs in the process, including from the jugs machine and everything else here to show that he's ready and he's available. But we're not ducking the subject today.
Oh, no.
They have to stop. Like, I almost feel like, Chris, like in our content, like we collectively just like shove this back. Like let's just all right now everybody remember what this game's actually about. It's about Jamar Chase. It's about T. Higgins. It's about what's his name,
Yoshivas.
I can't remember his first name either.
Andre, I believe.
Andre is right. Andre Yoshivas. I'm not being disrespectful. He had a really good game against the Steelers. His name.
He's a good number 3. He is a good number 3.
Now, he was the one that made the big play running away from
Slay. Who is not playing.
Who's never really going to play. When you're in a concussion protocol through the mid part of the week, you're staying there.
Yeah. You stay through the protocol. You can practice.
I don't mean technically.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you're messed up. Here's hoping the best for him in recovering from that. When I look at who's going to line up against these guys, and I see, it's going to be Joey Porter on one side. Porter's going to end up tracking Chase, isn't he?
It's possible, but at the same time, I kind of wonder if they're really. So the one thing that I learned this week, and I put this, when I wrote about it yesterday on our app, Joey Porter Jr. talked openly about Terrell Austin, like really, really taking player feedback over these last few weeks. And so I went around the room after that. I started asking defensive players about this, more one-on-one conversations. And it really seems like TA is not like he was being this closed door guy, like the stories about Matt Canada, who would close his door and he's doing all this stuff. And like, no, everybody get away. It was not saying it was like that, but for him to be like, listen, this isn't working. We're getting our butts absolutely handed to us. What can we do differently? And I'm all ears here, for him to be like that and for the players to give the feedback and then to see tangible change and to see that tangible change pay off, like to see the performance against the Colts, to see the performance against the Chargers, the defense is actually playing like a defense again. Now, they're still not perfect. They're still not a top 5 unit, but their arrow is now pointing upward again. And now I'm curious. I think this is the real test to see, because we've seen what this defense did before against this team. So does it mean that they go straight back to Joey Porter Jr. is not going to be the guy to follow around Jamar Chase? Or does it just have to be, listen, the too high stuff worked. We can play more zone. We don't have to blitz as often. It doesn't have to be, all right, Joey, man up. You're going to be going one-on-one against Jamar all night.
We don't know.
We don't know.
Okay.
And even if we did know,
if we did know, we might not know.
No.
So Porter, let's say that Porter just stays on his side and James Pierre gets that. Let's say that it doesn't even matter because of all the slants and the crossing that those guys do. I'm being serious here.
Yeah.
If we condensed the entire conversation today down to those stupid slants and how the Steelers do not have answers for them, and how the Steelers really for years now have not had answers for that. And I know there's an automatic response, a reflexive response to that, which is, well, those are just really difficult to defend. Well, they're not that difficult to defend against Pittsburgh.
Right.
I mean, they're just not. I'm sorry.
If anything, I think the Steelers have probably hit more of those offensively this year than we have in years past.
Like that doesn't mean they're good at it.
No, I know that.
They're not good at it.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's do that first. Let's set up something inside linebackers, safeties, you name it. What do the Steelers do to at least make it remotely a little bit difficult for the Bengals to connect on that play?
Well, you have zone defenders in the middle of the field, whether you're in
who?
It could be any of the linebackers. It could be a nickel. It could be an edge rusher.
Where are they when these plays get executed? Where do they disappear to?
Well, most of the time when we see them happen, they're usually in cover one, and they don't usually play cover one with a whole defender. So that's usually the problem. Yeah. So it doesn't
scarecrow.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be one guy. Like if you go, cover two, cover two is pretty simple, and there are obviously variations of it, but you have 2 deep safeties. You're in zone. You have 4 guys rushing. Now do the math. 2 deep, 4 rushing. 11 minus 6 is 5. That means you have 5 guys covering 5 zones underneath. And so, I mean, that can plug up a lot of zones. And again, we're not trying to completely take away Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. We're trying to limit them. We're trying to put a cap on them. We're trying to make sure they don't take over a game. And we're also trying to make sure that even a 4-man pass rush stands a much better chance of getting to Flacco, because he's not going to move. He's not going to escape out of there very often. That's not Flacco. It's never been Flacco, especially now with him being pretty much in the same ballpark as Aaron Rodgers in terms of age. So he's not moving. So give your 4-man pass rush a better chance to get there by taking away as much field as you possibly can. You're going to give up some plays doing that. If you play zone, you're going to give up plays. It's going to happen. But let those plays be 8 yards or 10 yards or 12 yards instead of 40 or instead of 28 or instead of these gigantic chunks that you were giving up against the Bengals because you were playing cover one with no hole defender in the middle of the field. Like,
Let's see. Matthew McKinney says you got to tackle the catch, and now he's speaking the Mike Tomlin language because that's part of what Tomlin will emphasize. The other thing that Tomlin will emphasize is something that we haven't brought up at all, which is the pass rush, which is getting back to Flacco. Now you can say, and TJ Watt talked about it at the time in Cincinnati. He was just getting rid of the ball so fast. There was just. And then they never see that as an excuse. They still think that they should be able to force something from somewhere. But when Flacco's just getting it and just like this, I'm sorry. I mean, there's only so much a pass rush can do in that event. So is there anything more they can do there? Because I think you and I are in agreement here, and robust agreement at that you don't want to be blitzing either.
No.
Now you're taking more guys out of your secondary.
Exactly. You don't. This is a game you don't want to be blitzing. If they blitz any more than about,
why are we talking about these guys like they're football gods? Listen to how victimized we are here. I'm sorry, I just have to point this out. It's so ridiculous.
Dude, Chase and Higgins.
I know, but it still feels stupid. They're still the Bengals. They're still where they are in the standings, and I know why, and you know why. But it just still feels dumb. Like they're not. If they were that great, they'd be more of a force than they are. I don't know. They lose every game while they're scoring 30 plus points.
Well, let's say they're not great because their offense isn't good. Their offense can put up points with almost anybody. They're not great because their defense can't stop a nosebleed. Like their defense can't stop anything. I mean, I'm not going to go to the.
They're horrible.
Yeah, I'm not going to go to the extreme and be like, "Oh yeah, well, Alabama could run up." I'm not. We're not going to compare.
No, they would kill Alabama. Stretchers and gurneys.
Yeah.
Okay, last rites would be read.
Right.
They would kill Alabama.
Yeah, but in terms of NFL competition, they are the worst defense in the NFL, and it's not close.
Some pretty grisly imagery for our Crimson Tide on this particular program.
Do we want to hear where they rank in so many different things? Because I have them all.
Alabama?
No, I'm talking about the Bengals defense. Bengals defense, man. It is hilarious. Total yards per game, 32nd. Passing yards per game, 30th. Rushing yards per game, 32nd. Points per game, 32nd. Yards per play, tied for 31st, which means them and another team are tied for worst in the league.
Yeah.
Take away.
Hey, guys, you know what Chris isn't telling you?
Wow.
There's another team hanging right around in that area with all those stats. A certain other team.
Yeah.
Is right around 31st and 30th and 28th and so forth.
Except the fact that the Bengals are also 29th in sacks, and the Steelers are second in the NFL in sacks.
Yeah. So, see, Mark Cunningham says a lot of really insightful things, but just like all the rest of us, he can swing and miss. He says Dallas might be worse. No way. No
way. This is the worst defense in the NFL.
If you want to see one play that would sell you on it, watch the last play from the Bears and Bengals.
Bears game.
You will never see a bigger defensive slop fest in a span of a single sequence than you would have that day. Danny says that the Steelers have to score 40 plus this week. Listen, I'm trying to come up with something else here today. We're trying to come up with solutions. All right. And I don't know if they're plausible. I don't know. But we're going to try to do that. Yes, the Jets put up 39 on that defense. That's just a brutal assessment on the part of our friend William. Really, but then they entered the season fully aware of this.
Mm-hmm.
Almost didn't bring Trey Hendrickson back. And now Hendrickson's not playing again Sunday. He didn't play in a game against Pittsburgh out there either. Yeah, you guys are trying to change the subject because I know what you're doing here. You're compensating. You're not ducking this today. How will the Steelers at least slow these guys down? There has to be something that can be done schematically. The Bengals are not the first team in football history to run slants. I understand they're doing it with these guys, but I also understand that there have been better receivers. Not many. There's certainly not better receiving tandems in the NFL. How do you stop it, Chris? How do you stop it?
Zone coverage, man. I mean, again, if you
Who?
try,
Where?
it depends on the zone. If it's cover 2, then you're likely having your corners covering the flats. You're having a safety, or not a safety. You're having linebackers or a nickel cover the 3 zones on the inside. If you're running Tampa 2, obviously one of your linebackers is going to be the really deep guy. I mean, cover 3, you can do a number of different things. You can have 2 safeties and a corner deep. You can have 2 corners and a safety deep. There are a number of different things that you can do in terms of how you rotate. The primary thing when it comes to running any kind of zone coverage is you want to make sure that, again, you're making Flacco hold on to the ball for a little bit longer than he normally would. If you run press coverage, you're going to run into the same, because there will be people who are like, just run press coverage.
No, they'll beat you. They'll beat you
because
there has to be some humility involved here.
Yeah, because Zach Taylor, and Justin says it, the press coverage is going to get them roasted, and it's not because Joey Porter Jr. is not up to the task of being able to jam Jamar Chase or T. Higgins at the line of scrimmage. It's because teams will align their formations so that those receivers that you want to jam will be off the line, so they're not on the line of scrimmage, so you can't jam them. Then they'll have other routes or other eligibles run routes that pick the player that's trying to jam that receiver. So you're screwed at that point. Like your attempt to run press coverage is completely negated just by schematics, not by anything the players are doing. So you have to run zone. You have to be able to drop guys into holes that make Flacco double clutch a little bit. There was a throw that Rodgers made. Now, he made it to Metcalf against the Chargers. It was actually one of his 2 or 3 best throws against the Chargers. It's the in-breaking route to Metcalf against the Chargers. Metcalf's running, and he gets right on the other side of a zone defender, and then Rodgers throws it and hits him like right here, like kind of high up, but like right here. Like really good throw. If you watch Rodgers on it, he had to like kind of clutch a couple of times because he's waiting for Metcalf to get on the other side of the zone defender. Now, imagine that. Imagine the Steelers trying to do that against the Bengals, against Joe Flacco, but having that pass rush actually get there, or pressure Flacco into having to move a certain direction to try to get away from that while he's waiting for a guy to get open.
See, I'm ready to go over the top with a gimmick here. This is not. Byron says the corner has to play inside the receiver's lead foot to help take away the quick slant. And that's stuff that you're getting down into positional coaching. That's not coordinator or whatever. That's nitty gritty. Okay. You want to make sure that you're doing something to disrupt them. Again, those things sound good when you're facing good or even very good receivers. When you're facing these guys, they're going to beat you. And that's why there's a part of me that wonders if there isn't some kind of, I don't know, almost a gimmicky thing. You know, the crazy stuff we used to talk about whenever the Steelers were facing Gronk, like put the whole team on Gronk, just 10 guys, let Brady see if he can throw to one of the other guys or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
But there are techniques. There are things that can be done. There's a little bit of cheating. There's some gimmicking. There you can put more bodies in that area in general. To what Chris was bringing up earlier, where you say, hey, listen, this is a no-fly zone. You might be able to beat us here. You might be able to beat us there, but you're not going to beat us on the slants. So let's see if we can adjust just within that. Now, I say that, and I have memories conjured up instantly of times where Cincinnati just went, okay, you want us to do that? We're just gonna loop around and be wide open on the sideline, because they're clearly the best offense that ever existed.
Well, the other thing that you can do is you can literally double Higgins and Chase.
That's what Robert's suggesting.
You can double
and say, go ahead, beat us with Yoshibus. Go ahead.
Right, but if you do that, don't do what you did last time. Don't use your double team on Jamar Chase,
use Ramsey. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Let's take Ramsey out of the equation here because he's playing safety now. So if you then consider like your best coverage corner to be Joey Porter Jr. at this point, don't waste Joey Porter Jr. in a double team. Let combination of corner, safety, whatever, be part of your double team. So if you're like double covering Chase and you're in nickel, so your three corners are Porter, Pierre, and let's just say Asante Samuel Jr. gets elevated and is active. Let's just say, hypothetically, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying let's say he's out there, whatever. Porter is your best corner that knows the system right now.
Yes, correct.
Don't waste him in a double team. Let like Samuel and Ramsey double.
No, I got it. And
then let Porter run with the Yoshivas or anything like that. Just
you double both guys. The Steelers would not be the first team to try that against that particular opponent.
Yeah.
Not to say that it wouldn't work. I'm just saying it wouldn't be. They wouldn't be breaking any major ground there.
You also can't do that all game long. There has to be things that has to be part of your arsenal of what. Well,
because the other thing that's going to happen, and this is something that came up with Cam Hayward yesterday over on the South Side, is you can't forget about Chase Brown. We all did.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that it was without cause when you considered what his statistics were leading into that game in Cincinnati. He wasn't somebody to be taken seriously until he was. And then all of a sudden, everything comes down to, we didn't stop the run. One of Mike Tomlin's favorite subjects, even when it doesn't apply. Snowman says, trade Mike Tomlin to the Giants for 2 first-round picks and a case of beer. He paid $5 for that. Snowman did. The best ideas I've heard so far. No, I'm not picking on you, Snowman. I love it. The best suggestions I've heard so far, this is probably just true. Mario says win time of possession. Keep him off the field.
Well,
run the football.
That's another
thing
you could do.
Yeah. Run the football. This is the thing I've been talking about all week long.
Yeah.
Run, as Robert says, and keep the defense off the field. That really is a significant part of the answer. And that's where I think to some extent, man, like, Arthur Smith said yesterday that, divisional game, they just lost to this team out in their place. And there's all kinds of, intensity and pressure and all that other stuff that goes with it. And then along comes some moron like me to suggest, well, hold on to the football. Even if you have Freiermuth open all day long, 20 yards wide open, standing in the middle of the field, possess the football. Like, use it almost like as a deliberate thing. And I don't just mean, when I say that, I don't mean Jaylen Warren running the ball 55 times. I mean, do what you did in Ireland. That's your template game so far for running it. And Jaylen didn't even play.
Yeah.
It was Kenny Gainwell left, Kenny Gainwell right, Caleb Johnson a little bit. And it was just chunk, 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 whatever. And there was a nice rhythm to it. What ended up happening, the Vikings got worried about getting beat. They were certainly getting beat on the edges, which was part of Arthur's scheme that day, because the Vikings have all those little people over there in the Brian Flores defense, the little fast guys. And Arthur didn't care because we're just going to trample them. Do that. Do you remember, Chris, when Arthur used to we'd find Arthur somewhere after the game, whether it was in the locker room or out in the concourse or whatever, and he would say, well, yeah, you're smiling because you know what I'm going to say here. He would go, do you see the clock? Do you see the clock? You know how he talks. You see the clock? Do you see time of possession? Do you see time of possession, guys? Do you see that? Do you see that? Yeah, we saw it. Have one of those games.
Yeah.
Okay, bore the hell out of us.
Seriously.
Take all those people who go to the FanDuel Sportsbook and put down money on the over and have them all lose.
Yeah.
Or if you take the under, have them all win.
You don't want to get into you don't want to, okay, listen. If you're going to go into a shooting match, you better make sure you have the firepower to match who you're going up against.
Yeah. Do you want to do that, Chris?
No. Because the Steelers don't have that.
Do you want this to turn into a tennis match?
No. Not when you don't have a Jamar Chase and T. Higgins on the other side.
Wear them down. They're already that defense is so. Can you imagine how mentally beaten up they are?
Yeah.
They live their every waking minute right now. Like their own kids come to the supper table and tell them that they suck. Dad, what is up, Dad?
Yeah.
You can't stop anybody.
Oh gosh.
So beat them up a little bit.
Yeah.
Leave them out there, wear them down. Take Chase and Higgins and Yoshivas and Brown and Flacco and remove them from that rhythm. They came onto the field like they were ready to just eat you alive.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that the way that game started, the way that game started, they were, I mean, Warren was running well. The offense wasn't an issue in that game. You'd like for them to possess the ball a little bit more, but again, it's the whole like Pat Fryermuth touchdown thing. At the end of that game, sure, you would love to be able to run out that last 2.5 minutes of clock, but you need a touchdown, and you're not going to turn down a touchdown. Like it's one of those things where you're like, yeah, I love the touchdown, but I really wish I would have taken the clock. I get it, but you can't turn the touchdown down. But in this case, start off, just shove it down their throat, man. It's not like they have a lot of what's the best way I can to kind of put this? It's not like there's a lot of reason to think that they can push back up against it right now, because that defense is stopping anybody.
No, of all these lockdown certainties that we're talking about for this game, that's the lockdowniest. That one right there.
Yeah.
Where that the Steelers are going to be able to move the ball against Cincinnati however the hell they want. So pick the one that wins the game.
Yeah.
And also, as long as you're in the vicinity, pick the one that further forms the foundation, the identity that you want for your offense moving forward. Cement or come close to cementing or begin cementing what you want to use against the Bills and the Ravens and the other teams that you're going to be facing moving forward, the Bears, because that's how you're going to have to beat them too. You're going to have to be a better time of possession football team regardless, Chris, whether that's against the worst defense we've ever seen, whether that's against, the Ravens in Baltimore, which is going to be by the time that comes around, or whether it's in the playoffs. You're going to have to be that team. That's been part of my point all week. You might as well begin that now, as long as the other team's defense is so bad that they're presenting it to you as multiple choice. Which way would you prefer to beat us?
Yeah, I think I am all for giving the ball to Jaylen Warren as much as possible. But what the Steelers need to try to do is they need to try to find ways to make this a run-first team. And I mean a true run-first team. And that means
Pittsburgh.
Right.
Okay.
If that means that, okay, you run Jaylen Warren and you either run him for an entire series or like that needs to be the way it goes. You run him for an entire series, or if he has like a 12-yard run, then a 10-yard run, then a 15-yard run, then a 9-yard run, he just wastes a lot of energy. Okay, then you spell him for a couple plays. But it really almost needs to go to the whole thing, like no matter what, if it's first down, second down, third down, keep Jaylen Warren on the field for the entire series. Then the next series, okay, hey Jaylen, how you feeling? You feel like you need a breather? Now, he might always say, no, I'm good. And then at some point, you're going to have to be like, all right, take a series off. We can put Kenny G out there for a series. Just like Le'Veon Bell used to be the feature guy. He used to lead the NFL in touches. But even when they got D'Angelo Williams and mainly got him to cover for the time that those few games that Bell was going to be suspended, even after Bell came back from his suspension, there were still a series every now and then in which D'Angelo Williams would go in and Bell would take a series off.
Mm-hmm.
Do that. You're preserving your number one back. You're taking some of the touches away from him, some of the volume away from him to help preserve him and to keep him healthy. But keep some sort of like continuity there instead of just running these guys out there. Okay, this play it's going to be Jaylen Warren. All right, this play it's going to be Kenny Gainwell. Okay, this play it's going to be Caleb Johnson. Like, No, it can't be like it. Doing this kind of rotation thing isn't working. So I would say go at it in a way of which is like Jaylen Warren, entire series, no matter what. Like I said, unless he just has like run after run after run after run, and he's gassed. He needs a couple.
Yeah, beer is good food for you. Says that. What a ridiculous name that is, by the way.
It's
moniker to come with here. Safe to say this is a must-win. Savior leading the division stuff. If you lose Sunday, this season is lost. I'm surprised more people haven't brought this up. I mean, mathematically, it is what it is. And you can always bounce back, and everyone can conveniently point to, and fairly point to, the Indianapolis game and say, well, what are you talking about? The Steelers can clearly beat anybody because, it's the NFL, and the Steelers didn't really play well against the Colts overall.
Yeah.
But if you lose Sunday, and two of the games that you have left are against the Ravens, the one thing you can do is kiss the division goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you don't deserve to be putting on any "We Run the North" shirts if you lose twice to the Bengals without Burrow and Hendrickson in both games. You just don't. There's the whoever would be printing your shirts would be like, I can't make these. Get out of here.
Yeah,
take your business elsewhere.
Yep. I seriously, that's. I mean,
Frank, don't give me 6 turnovers and win by 7. They beat the Colts. I hate when people attach asterisks to the Colts game. I really don't like that. Okay, yeah, they beat the Colts.
That's a narrative that just.
I hate that one. Somebody said it one time and it got repeated. Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's exactly what that is. Dave Black says the Steelers can lose to anybody. Also, they got outscored by the Bengals. They're not the first team that's happened to. So yeah, this is an enormous game. Our man Skunk says.
Yeah, it is. It's a division game. You have to win it. I mean, you cannot get swept by a Bengals team that doesn't have Joe Burrow and Trey Hendrickson. You just can't, especially like this game being at home. Like you definitely have to at least protect home field in your division, at least. But then you have to usually take at least one game on the road as well. And there's only 2 of those left. So, yeah, it's a big game.
Yeah, let's take a couple more today here. Steeler Girl says if Rodgers plays the way he did, they won't win another game. Well, that's also accurate. It's just not what we're talking about today. We've talked about it all week long.
He had a bad game.
He had a bad game. The offense, in general, other than Jaylen Warren, had a bad game. They have to be better, and they're going to be better against this team. But there's another level. There's not just being good enough to put up points or put up yards against the Bengals. This is a little bit different.
Yeah.
Here's Mike Jones in all caps. I'm not going to scream. We have people here shopping. I'm not going to scream, dude. Let's be honest. Any true Yinzer knew we would beat the Colts, but also lose our very next game. That's just who we've been. More narrative stuff. Like the 11-0 start. We all knew Washington was going to win. Yeah, because they were 11-0.
More narrative stuff.
Yeah, there's supposed to be some wins on Sunday. I don't know if it's high winds. We don't really get dangerous winds in Pittsburgh. We don't have dangerous weather in Pittsburgh. For those of you who brag about your weather,
I have seen the forecast have some pretty gusty winds. Like
yeah, but I'm saying when you're talking about winds, I'm talking about tornadoes and stuff.
Oh yeah, no.
We don't have any of that. Dwight Jefferson wants to know if Warren has a nagging injury. He does not.
Nope.
He absolutely, unequivocally, no way does not. Come on, give me one more good question here. I don't think that's actually Mason Rudolph. 15
to 25 miles an hour on Sunday. So
yeah, that'll be enough to screw things up for the kickers.
Yeah,
it'll be enough for them to, be out there, doing this before the kicks. We'll see some extra work being done in warm-ups, some extra assessments being made. But for the most part, like Ulysses Prince says here, how many more bad games can Aaron Rodgers have before they bench him? You're not benching Aaron Rodgers.
He had one bad game.
No, but I'm just saying in general, like trying to take the question literally, they're not benching Aaron Rodgers.
Oh gosh,
he'd have to be hurt, and he'd have to be hurt to the point where it would affect his performance.
Yeah,
that's something that I started thinking about like last week. Not to be that guy, but just in anticipation of a lot of other people being that guy. What's it going to take to start bringing up the Mason Rudolph calls or Will Howard or whatever, right?
Oh, the Will Howard calls. Now that he's on the active roster, I'm. No.
But what you have though with Rodgers is a situation where this is his 21st year in the league. He's never been benched in his life. Okay, unless you count the very, 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 very beginning of his career, and that's not really being benched. That's being told, hey, there's this dude wearing number 4 out there. You're gonna have to watch him for a little bit. Okay. With Rodgers, there's someone like that. You'd better be really, really sure, because you're about to do something. You're about to embarrass him. And he committed to coming to you after you spent all summer trying to talk him into it. And I don't see it. I don't see it. And no, me am not giving up on Rodgers.
Yeah, I think
he had a game where he threw a handful of passes high, and he tried too hard to escape from trouble in the backfield. Those are two very, very correctable things.
Yeah, it's also, again, like every quarterback has a bad game, every single one. Like, the fact that it gets to this point where, because there are fans who love Mason Rudolph, and there are seemingly endless fans who love Will Howard, and it's just like he had one bad game, and it was a bad game. There's no two ways around that. Aaron didn't try to tiptoe around that.
No,
it was a bad game, but my gosh, like let's. If he has another game like that in a row, all right, 2 is a pattern. Then you can start to be like, all right, is Father Time catching up and he's just losing it? It's very possible. It could happen to anybody. Penguins lost in overtime.
Yeah, I just saw. They were winning with about a minute left.
Yeah,
and
I have the game on TV over here.
They went to overtime, and Artur Shilovs got beat. And we won't be seeing him in the follow-up game on Sunday. I don't want to see him much anymore anyway. He got beat by Steven Stamkos coming down the right wing in overtime. He's not the first one.
Yeah.
That's happened to, but he is just not. He's not anybody's answer in goal. Granted, the team could have played better. I think they ended up with 16 total shots.
Yeah.
Penguins did.
That's not good.
For anybody that doesn't know what we're talking about, the Penguins just lost 2-1 in overtime in Stockholm, Sweden, to the Predators. We call it an afternoon game, but it's not over there. It's a night game.
Yeah, they're 6 hours ahead of us.
Yeah, they sat on a 1-0 lead for basically 2 hours, which isn't really their personality, and they relied on a goaltender that they can't rely on. Make the save.
Yeah.
Unscreened, come on. Stamkos picked that like it was nothing.
I didn't even see it.
Didn't you? Oh, yeah. It's just one of those classic. He's coming down the right side. He sizes up his spot on the far side, and he just nails it. Classic Stamkos goal.
Below the blocker, above the pad. Yep.
That's the one.
Yep.
And it's not like nobody knows that's coming.
Yep.
And Byron Nelson says the last 4 minutes, Nashville owned his own time. You can't. This team has to keep attacking. This team has to keep staying on top of. They can't sit. The Penguins can't sit in their own zone and say, all right, let's just defend. They don't have that. They don't have those people.
No. That's not the way they're built at all.
Dan Finnegan says that Shilovs hasn't been good in OT or the shootout. It's tough to lump those two things together, but I hear you. He's great at costing the Penguins the extra point. Let's put it that way. And that's a tough point to lose because the Predators stink.
Yeah.
And you can't keep losing these overtime and shootout points. And I know the hockey people love to just discard that stuff. Oh, it's not real hockey. Okay, but the points are real points in the standings. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
All right. We'll end on a football thing here. Yeah, that sucked. Yeah. Lil Ruga says, I'd like your opinion. It seemed to me last Sunday that they were possibly trying too hard to hit the deep ball. Yeah. Chris heard me complaining about that the whole game. Yeah. They were trying to force stuff to Metcalf. And I understand you want to get Metcalf involved. You want Metcalf to be your answer out of a problem. I get that. I also get that it wasn't necessary because the Chargers weren't stopping anything short, including the run game.
Well, there are a couple of different ways that you can try to get the ball to Metcalf more often without actually throwing it to him to create space for him. Either somebody or somebody or a collection of somebody's on the other side start making the defense pay for putting so much attention over on Metcalf's side. Or you just run the ball like crazy and force them to load the box. Because if you're not loading the box, we're gaining 5 yards here. We're gaining 7 yards here. We're gaining 4 yards here. We're gaining 9 yards here. It's going to be Chinese water torture the entire game. We're just going to run the ball down your throat until you load the box. Once they load the box, you cannot afford to double team any receivers. Then you have space for DK Metcalf. So there are a couple of different ways you can go about it. I am a proponent of the latter, run the ball like crazy, and then allow that to then force the defense to change, and you will have your space for DK Metcalf.
Our good friend, the PEF, has earned the final word on the day. He says, I remember one time Ben Roethlisberger had a bad game, and I wanted to put in Byron Leftwich, but in my defense, I was probably 11.
That's good.
Oh, no. All right, guys. Listen, go get the app. It's the DK Pittsburgh Sports app. Put it into your Apple or Android device. After you do that, email me directly, dk@dkpittsburghsports.com for a massive discount that'll be sure to please. I still haven't gotten a no on that discount offer yet, Chris. Really?
I can't imagine. Yeah, I can't imagine.
Yeah, it's a tough no. Once you've made it that far into the process and you've sent the email, you see the price and you go, really? Jeez. Okay, yeah, sure. So yeah, do that. dk@dkpittsburghsports.com. We'll see you guys.